Like the force of Endor. I mean, it's just curly down there. I mean, he's like Chewbacca just like giving me a like,
See, that's my whole point. That's why you laser hair removal, like I did.
I want to try that No Mona.
That never works.
It doesn't.
Never nair that E.
Doesn't work on the head either. But,
oh, crap. Hey!
Hey!
We're back! And as we were talking about Rob Liefeld, we're coming up to the... We got to do a lot. We got to cover a lot of stuff. We're going to barrel through this. You focus on this. Liefeld, bringing out a lot of the editorial problems. We kind of talked a little bit about it. Is it him doing his thing? One wants to say it's just Liefeld being Liefeld. But then we get to December. I see what you're doing on the side of my face. I'm going to slap you on the side of yours.
That's what you told me to do.
I know, that's what I told you to do. Then you get to December of this past year, and say what you will. I mean, you can say that the editorial problems with Liefeld because Deathstroke's not selling well, Grifter was on its way out, Hawkman was not really doing too well, and none of them ever really did. You can't really say the same thing about Batgirl.
Yeah.
You just can't. And so it was amazing to a lot of people that we actually found out Gail Simone was being fired off of Batgirl by incoming editor Brian Cunningham, which the main rumor is that it was a disagreement between writer and editor over what direction Barbara Gordon should take.
They're saying they wanted to handicap her again.
They wanted to handicap her. They wanted to make it less violent.
Less violent. I don't think that would work. Making her keeping her where she's not handicapped. I mean,
there's
book's
a
doing
lot.
well.
All right, let's
Let's
talk about that for a second. I'm gonna jump off a little bit. I'm sorry.
This is his way of keeping me in the conversation.
Yeah.
So I'm not just sitting here going,
I am so tired of hearing people say, make her handicapped again because she... I understand that it was really big that there was a handicapped superhero that was really important. Here's the thing. All the stories that could be told about that have been told.
Yeah.
Now, what stories don't we have? Stories of her gaining back her ability to walk and dealing with the pressure and the trauma that came with that while going out and putting herself in that danger of it happening again. That makes some great story. That's what made me actually start reading it again.
Did they cover that in Zero, though?
They did.
Okay.
They covered it in Zero. They covered it.
I grabbed Zero. I haven't read it yet.
In the first several issues. I mean, she's still dealing with it, and with the death of the family, she's come face to face with the person that did it to her.
Mm-hmm.
And
great story that we would not have had otherwise.
Exactly. And she now as Oracle in the pre-52.
Yeah.
She had faced the Joker a couple of times, but there's a world difference between handicapped Barbara Gordon and a Barbara Gordon that can fully defend herself. Yeah. And now has something that she can lose again. Because now she had nothing to lose. Yeah. She's already suffered the worst thing. Her body has been gone. Yeah. Now she has it back. There's a lot of great stories to be told like that. And there's a lot of people that have suffered post-trauma stuff. That could be an influential thing too. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm sorry that she's gone. It's great that they made something great out of her. But I'm enjoying the Batgirl stuff. So, and Gail Simone is a major part of that too. Because she's been really good at handling that problem. And so to toss her off the book like that, I was upset. A lot of people were upset. Enough people that DC, I guess, DC backtracked and said, hey, after 2 issues, a new writer's going to be Gail Simone. And she's also going to have another book.
They acquiesced and some.
And then some, I guess. Why? Why of all times? Like, you can make the case that an editor, he is the guy that controls the direction. But when the writer is making it work.
You have a story that's doing well, except the sales and internet buzz were saying that everybody was happy, or at least the vast majority were happy, which is, unfortunately, can't please everybody, but why do you want to just go against that?
It doesn't make any sense to me.
And I think it's why they eventually gave.
Maybe because of money? They could have brought somebody in.
Well, I don't think Gail commands a high price point. She's a very underappreciated artist, in my viewpoint. Like, I don't think, like, she writes great stuff, but she doesn't have that cash that Grant Morrison's name has, Jeff Johns has.
In the mission, this isn't the 90s. There's no huge paydays anymore. I mean, people are getting paid, but it's not like the old days where...
Yeah.
I mean, do you think maybe
no one's getting $1 million
there was such a vocal, and I like to think of vocal minority, and I believe I was proven right by what happened. Maybe that there was such a vocal minority saying, no, handicap her again, handicap. She was great as Oracle. We don't want her as Batgirl. That this editor thought that's what people wanted. And then the backlash said, no, that's not what everyone wants. That's just what some people want.
And I think it's the wrong way to look at it. Is they actually, yes, she's not handicapped anymore. But talk about a strong female leader. Is someone who's capable of fighting and is smarter than Batman. She is not. It's not like when they gave her legs back, they took her brains away. She's still a genius,
and she's still doing Oracle things.
And she's out kicking somebody's ass. It's the best of both. I mean, she's the strong female lead that they've needed forever.
I agree with that on that one.
Yeah, I mean, I have no arguments with that.
No arguments with that. So that was always a big thing with that.
Yeah.
And there have been interviews with the editors, the big editors, Bob Harris, Dan Didio, Jim Lee, the co-publishers, and none of them will actually touch the subject. They won't say anything. I mean, obviously, they're not going to.
No.
They're not going to acknowledge any issues. But not even something as high profile as the Gail Simone thing. They have stayed quiet. Not even a company approved, like, we're just trying to bring the best books we can, and we're just doing what we think. We made a misstep in this direction. We're bringing it back.
Well, because in 6 months, they won't ever have to acknowledge it again. It's the nature of the business. It'll be a news story arc, and people will be talking about that. So
that's a good point.
They don't have to acknowledge it. It's a silence works for them.
And we've come down, I think, a little bit on the editors in this case. Brian Cunningham been named. My apologies, Brian, but that's who you are. You're that editor. Liefeld, of course, talking about how the editors are making problems. Are the editors to blame? Because, I mean, their main function is to also carry over the VP, the boards, the higher-ups.
Well,
directive.
obviously, they said there was a summit. They had a summit in Charlotte, our hometown. You don't hold a summit if you think everything's fine and dandy.
You don't. No, you don't.
So, obviously, they think there's a problem. Whether it was appropriately placed blame, we don't know. But DC obviously knows there's a problem because you don't have a summit without... We're going to have the summit to fix nothing. That's just not how it works.
Isn't that just what happens, though?
Well,
they fix nothing.
But so obviously DC knows there's a problem, and they're trying to work with it, and they seem to think editors is the place to work with it. So,
but how much do you think is like Warner Brothers coming down and saying, well, these movies have made billions now, like Batman, and we want
probably.
to...
I'm going to say a good bit. I'm going to say because they have the studio backing that's what's going to be a lot of the issues that they're saying. Hey, the movies work because they're like this. That has to reflect in the comics. I mean, look at when The Dark Knight came out. Joker had a big change. You saw a lot of the Heath Ledger and a lot of the Heath Ledger
That's
style.
also Grant Morrison and Frank Quitely's style, is they tend to draw inspiration from whatever movies come out. The point they did with X-Men.
I think they want the DC and Warner Brothers want a level of consistency, and I mean it may not be an extreme, but they want at least a measure of consistency,
some sort of recognition.
Yeah,
which I think that's a good point. Cause I don't know on that one that when Dark Knight came out at the same time that they tossed Bruce Wayne into the whole Dark Side issue, and Dick Grayson took over. So you're kind of like going from Dark Knight being such a big, huge hit. People couldn't really jump into the book because Bruce Wayne's gone now, and now Dick Grayson's in that position.
And it was confusing. I mean, I working at a comic book store, people came in, they're like, "What do you mean Bruce Wayne's not Batman?"
It's again that bad tie-in time, I guess.
And which is why I know DC a couple of years ago wanted to kill off the big three, Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman, and have them replaced. And Warner Brothers said no. And at the time, I thought it was an awful idea. I didn't think Warner Brothers should have a say. I think they should let their writers in the comics come up with the stories and later turn them into movies. But you're not going to have a Superman that's not Clark Kent in the theater. Not going to happen. You're not going to have a Batman that's not Bruce Wayne. Just not going to happen. And Wonder Woman is...
Yeah, Wonder Woman. Even if she is Artemis at times.
Yeah.
They might do a Batman where it's not Batman.
They won't. They won't touch him. They will not let Joe
I'm just saying, like in a trilogy, The first two, it's Bruce Wayne, and then
I wouldn't mind seeing a Nightfall trilogy, to be honest.
Well, they already pushed back Justice League again because they wanted waiting to see how the Superman movie does.
Ugh.
Warner Brothers has such a commitment. I mean, they
trust your product. Trust that there is an audience.
Yeah, but they want to do Superman, Batman. They're like, okay, this sounds good, and then the last Superman movie fails. Then they go back. Oh, Avengers made $1 billion. We need to do Justice League. Okay. Oh, well, let's wait until see how Superman does.
They gotta have some faith.
They have zero faith in any change. It's just not going to happen.
That's fingers crossed.
Yeah,
fingers crossed.
I'm not holding my breath.
Well, like you said, there's been editorial summit. Hopefully, this maybe was a salve on the wound or a fix that may quiet down maybe some of the creative tension, some of the editorial problems, for lack of a better word. Only time will tell if that is, or if we'll have more issues like this. Again, I mean, it's something that needs to be talked about because no one else is going to.
Yeah.
It's a lot of nut and bolt stuff, as they say. Seems like Liefeld's going to be the most information, and you got to consider the source.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, that's it for us on this one. We just talked 30 minutes about DC editorial, and you got to sit and watch it. And he had ADD, but he did come in at the last minute. You really brought in some good stuff. You brought your A game after your D and Z game.
I play D&D.
Yeah, you do. We'll be back next week. We'll be talking some Star Wars love. Pretty much anything and everything, but we're going to talk about casting and all this
we're going to
stuff.
be wearing the exact same stuff.
We're going to be wearing the exact same clothes because my laundry is crappy. And we'll have a very special guest. You'll have to find out who it is when we get there on that. He's not really that special. He's a cock goblin. He's special like the bus.
He's special like the cock goblin.
But anyway, for myself, for Victor Goldberg, for Ian McPherson, this is Shop Talk, and we'll see you next week when we're talking shop.
Hey, man. Hey, man.